Hello students, Wendy Ansley here, kinesiology professor at College of the Desert. I have by me several blocks, a strap, and possibly a blanket for some of you that might need a little bit of an elevation for some of our postures. Our sequence is always a well-rounded sequence. Challenge you on the four corners of the mat. We're going to do a little more forward folds than we normally do, seated forward folds. Seated forward folds really release the vulnerable backside of the body from the heels, through the calves, through the hamstrings, through the lower back, all the way to the crown of the head. So often we view this as an opportunity to express vulnerability, breathe into it, as well as a deep form of reflection within. And many of my yoga mentors have taught me the power of forward folds. Now I want to share with you the message of what is vulnerability. Vulnerability is our willingness to take risks and expose ourselves emotionally to others. It is not a weakness. Vulnerability has so many benefits to our own life when we have the courage to express that. So what are some of the benefits of vulnerability? I just want to share these with you. One is you can build trust and intimacy in a relationship. Build trust and intimacy. Another one, you can build empathy and understanding. That ability to show your care, that you care and love to yourself and others. We can increase our self-worth, how we feel about ourselves, by just exposing vulnerability. We can, the fourth one here, is help us find the people we want in our lives, the people that lift us up and help us become better people. Fifth one here is we work together better. Okay, what does that mean? When we expose a challenge in our life, a vulnerability, and we find others to help us become better people, we can work together more and increase, right? Increase our lives, live in a more optimal way. The sixth one is vulnerability can help us overcome negative emotions, right? It can help us with our mind, exposing this area, right? Vulnerability can help us overcome negative emotions and help us find optimism. Vulnerability, the seventh one here, can increase our own self-awareness in our life and can help us take accountability for our lives. The last one I love, when we embrace vulnerability, we embrace personal growth. This opens us up for personal growth. So on our four corners of the mat, we work physically, we use our breath, and sometimes we find postures to embrace these qualities. Let's start off with a little forward fold here. We'll do Badakanasana. We're just going to open up our adductors and prepare for some forward folds. So we clasp, the soles of the feet come together. We draw the sitting bones together. We take the soles of the feet and we open them almost like a book, and we draw those elbows inside here and simply kind of open those adductors. Beautiful. And maybe we come forward just a bit here, several breaths. Inhale and exhale through the nose. Gently rise. We'll do a deeper expression of forward folds towards the end of our practice here. But now we're going to come into a little Vasitasana. So we just widen the legs a little bit. We're going to take the blocks outside of the knees here. And we're going to warm up the QL, which is these muscles that go along horizontally here in the lower spine. We're going to inhale, we're going to draw those arms up, and we're going to interlace those fingers. So here we are, right? Elbows come up, and we're going to tilt here, as I mirror you here, tilt the left elbow towards the block here, and the right elbow comes up. If you have a hard time, you can lower to the forearm, but we want to tilt the left elbow towards the block and draw the gaze up, breathing into that release of the right side of the lower back. Inhale, rise. Often a lot of lower back pain is from tight QLs. Inhale, lengthen, and lower the right elbow towards the block and draw that left elbow up. Tilt that gaze up just a bit. Continue to kind of almost draw the left top ribs back, bottom ribs forward. Breathing into vulnerability. Inhale and rise. Trying to rotate that pelvis forward just a bit. If you need to sit on a block or sometimes elevate, even on a blanket, you can, and place those under the sitting bones here. And we're going to simply inhale, draw length, and exhale, rotate the knees back and press outer edges of the feet. And we're just going to simply stay here several breaths, warming up here. Breathing into that lower back, breathing into the adductors. Rotate those knees back. Inhale and rise. As we fold our hands here in Anjali Mudra, heart-centered, and lower our head to our fingertips, I just want you to take a moment and reflect within. Maybe in an area of your life, a challenge. How can we embrace vulnerability? How can we overcome negativity, embrace optimism? How can we work with others? How can we increase trust in our relationships? How can we increase empathy? Take a moment and set your own intention for our practice. Inhale and rise. Beautiful. Taking the blocks, we're going to come into Adho Mukha as we come into the vulnerable backside of our body in down dog. The blocks are about shoulder width apart, heel of the hands on the blocks. And we're going to lift up and do a little dynamic down dog, heel and toe, heel and toe. And come into a static hold in down dog. Press through those palms and draw length into the spine. I want you to firm those thighs. Belly button to the spine. Breathe into any pain, any stiffness in this back side of the body. Transition, we're going to walk it forward. Inhale, halfway lift, Ardha Uttanasana. Gaze forward and down, tailbone out and back. Exhale, come into deep forward fold. Come more to that midfoot. Release those hamstrings. Gently swan dive up. Open the chest. Open the heart. Exhale, heart-centered. Beautiful. Removing those blocks here. Pada Bandha in those feet. Let's do a cleansing breath together. Inhale through the nose, exhale through the mouth. Inhale, exhale. Inhale, draw those arms up. Energy out the fingertips. Exhale, we're going to swan dive down, heel and toe, still awakening. Inhale, halfway lift, either hands to the shins, thighs, or the ground. Framing the feet, we're going to step back into plank. And this is where we draw the belly button to the spine, active legs, active shoulders, and lightly dome the upper back, just lightly. Stay here several breaths. Core awakening. Gently lower to the knees. Knees, chest, and chin all at the ground at the same time. Draw the shoulders down the back ribs. Knees, chest, and chin. Tailbone out and back. On the exhale, send those legs back. Hands by the chest. Come into easy cobra. Transition, come to all fours. Lead with those hips, come into down dog. Tailbone back and down, pubis bone back and up. Transition, walk it forward. Inhale, halfway lift. Exhale, forward fold. Gently bend the knees, open the chest, open the heart. Exhale, heart center. Inhale, root through the feet, draw those arms up. Exhale, swan dive down. Inhale, halfway lift. Frame the feet, step back into plank. Dome the upper back, active legs and core. Core awakening, beautiful. Stay here several breaths. Gently lower the knees as we transition. Knees, chest, and chin all at the ground at the same time. Hands by the chest, elbows close to those sides. Shoulders down the back ribs. On the exhale, send those legs back. Come into easy cobra. Press through the tops of the feet that are about hip width apart. Shoulders in line with those elbows. Gaze forward and down. Just as we press through the feet, we awaken the lower spine, the lower back. Transition, come to all fours. Lead with those hips, come into Adho Mukha. Press through those palms, draw length in the spine. Spread those fingers, root through the second and the third finger. A little bit more. On the transition here, we're going to walk the feet together in down dog. The feet are together just on this transition. Heel pumps. Releve up on the balls of the feet. Exhale, lower the heels down. Inhale, releve up. Exhale, lower the heels down. We're going to inhale. Let's draw that right leg up to hip level. Rotate that right pinky in just a bit. On the exhale, we're going to draw the right knee to the chest and the nose. Place the right foot next to the right hand. Lower the left knee to the ground. 1 or 2 dynamics. Hands come by the heart. Come into low lunge. Draw the elbows to the side. Beautiful. And now extend those arms from the center of the chest. Breathing into this left hip. Hands come heart-centered, come center. And now a little transverse rotation, a little twist, where we extend those arms from the center of the chest. Left hip rotates internally just a bit. Hands come back together. Beautiful. Frame the foot, connect to runner's pose. Back leg is straight, firm that right hip. Planting the hands into the ground, come into down dog. Walk the feet together on this transition. Inhale, releve up. Exhale, heels to the ground. Inhale, releve up. Exhale, heels to the ground. One-legged down dog, left leg. Inhale, draw that left leg up to hip level. Exhale, draw the left knee to the chest and the nose. Dome the upper back. Place the left foot next to the left hand. Hands on the hips. 1 to 2 dynamics. Hands by the heart. Add a little rotation to the right. Now extend those arms from the center of the chest. Breathe into that right hip. Hands come heart-centered. Add a little twist to the left. Beautiful transverse rotation. Feel that right hip rotate inward just a bit. A little bit of a twist. Hands come heart-centered. Frame the foot. Runner's pose, back leg is straight. Frame the foot, come into down dog. Draw length in the spine, tailbone back and down. Pubis bone back and up. Transition, we're going to walk the legs forward. Inhale, halfway lift. Exhale, forward fold. If you need a block, you can utilize a block, but we're going to walk the hands over to the left here, and we're really releasing that right side of the hip here. Breathe into this little rotation. Beautiful. Transition, we're going to walk the hands over to the right and release that left hip. Gently release, come forward, back to the middle. Take the tops of the hands and press them into the ground, and let's just rock them, rock the hips side to side, putting weight, just awakening the wrists. Fingers come towards one another, and let's rock side to side. Fingers move away and we rock side to side. Gently bend the knees. Swan dive up. Open the chest. Open the heart. Exhale, heart centered. Cleansing breath. Inhale through the nose. Exhale through the mouth. Balancing on the right foot. Draw that right femur head in. We're going to draw that left knee up just a bit. Good. Knee is in line with the hip. Just rooting into the ground. Touching on balance. Gazing forward. Slightly bending that right leg. We're going to draw that left leg back into crescent moon. Knee is over the ankle. Front leg parallel to the ground. Come onto the ball of the back foot a little bit more on the pinky toe. And simply inhale and exhale through the nose. Calm the mind. Crescent moon. Ashta Chandrasana. Building balance. Building strength. The right hand is going to stay on the right hip here. It's going to come onto the right hip, I should say. Left hand comes down. We'll come onto the fingertips here and rotate. Draw that right arm up and come onto the pinky toe of the back leg. Just come into a little mid-thoracic rotation here. Stay here several breath cycles. Gently release. Lower the right hand to the ground, and we're going to quarter turn this right foot. Press outer edge of the extended foot, and we're rocking. My heel is up a little bit of the right foot. We're rocking forward and back till eventually, can I get the heel onto the ground and then draw the toes up of that extended leg. Beautiful Skandasana here. Stay here several breaths. Draw length in the spine. Try not to have those shoulders slump forward. Breathing into those hamstrings. Lower the hands to the ground. Come center. Press outer edges of the feet. A little bit of a concave back here. Hands under the shoulders. Awaken those arches in the feet. Breathe into those hamstrings. Gently kind of come on to the hands here and draw the belly button to the spine. Inhale, back flat, root and rise. Take the arms behind, and I want you to just draw the shoulder blades together and awaken the shoulders. Beautiful. Continue to lift those hands up. Draw the shoulder blades together. It's okay to close those eyes. Gently release. Heel, toe it in. Cleansing breath. Inhale. Exhale. Embracing vulnerability as a strength. Come to the mat this way. Root through the four corners of the left foot and draw that right knee up. Finding balance. Engaging the quadriceps of the standing leg, the left leg. Beautiful. Finding your balance, finding your gaze. Gently bend that left leg. Draw that right leg back. Come into crescent moon. Knee directly over the ankle of the front leg parallel to the ground. Back leg is straight and strong. Come on to the pinky toe just a bit so that hip is rotated inward just a tiny bit. Come into beautiful crescent moon. Stay here several breath cycles. Draw that left hand on the hip here for stability. Draw that right hand down. Come onto the fingertips. Rotate that right foot inward just a little bit onto the pinky toe. Draw that left arm up, mid-thoracic rotation. Gently release, lower the left hand. We're going to quarter turn this left foot, and we're rocking forward and back. My left heel is lifted a bit. I'm pressing outer edge of that extended leg. And now I'm trying to get the left heel to the ground and then press through that extended right heel and come into Skandasana. Elbow on the inside, spine is long. Breathe into those hamstrings. Breathe into vulnerability. Gently release. Hands to the ground. Prasarita stance here. Press outer edges of both feet. Hands under the shoulders. Belly button to the spine. Inhale, root and rise. Take the arms down, clasp the hands, draw the shoulder blades towards one another here. Shoulder health. Beautiful. Stay here several breaths. Gently release. Heel, toe it in. Cleansing breath. Inhale through the nose. Exhale through the mouth. Beautiful. Coming towards the edge of the mat here. Inhale, draw those arms up. Exhale, swan dive down. Releve up on the balls of the feet, heels and ankles together. On the exhale, we're going to lower the the hips towards the heels. That's what we're doing in Malasana here. This is an expression of vulnerability. We're going to take the hands by the sides, try to keep the ankles, knees, and shins together. Heels are lifted. And possibly we lower the head to the knees for a little bit deeper reflection. Breathe into that back side of the body. Breathe into balance. Breathe into strength. Gently lower the heels to the ground and hips to the ground here. We're preparing for boat pose. Beginners, you can keep the fingertips to the ground. Gently bend the legs parallel to the ground, strengthening the hips. More advanced is we can straighten those legs, straighten those arms, energy out the fingertips, and we're going to hold here a while. Beautiful Navasana. Boat pose. Core strength. Gently bend the knees. Trying to get up without the hands and the knees. If you need to use your hands, that's okay. But we're going to root and rise. Cleansing breath. Inhale. Exhale. It's always something to work on, a little hip mobility. Taking a block here. We're going to press it to the ground. If you want to come higher, you can. Preparing for pyramid, Parvottanasana. We're going to start with the right leg out in front. Back leg a few inches shorter than a full leg length, and I want us to take our hips, face them straight ahead, stable back foot, stable back leg. Inhale, we're going to draw those arms up. Draw length in the spine. Exhale, we're going to come forward here. Hands to the blocks, come more to the midfoot here. Stable back foot, stable hips. Beautiful. Some of us, we can come into a little deeper expression, but we still want to level the pelvis more onto the midfoot. But if we can, we want to come back onto the fingertips and draw the sternum and chest close to the shin. Gently draw those arms forward. Come onto the fingertips. Inhale, root and rise. Step forward, cleansing breath. Inhale through the nose. Exhale through the mouth. How we transition in and out is very important in a posture. That's where my challenge often is. Transitions in life are very vulnerable. We're going to draw that right leg back. Left leg is out forward here. Back foot 45 to 60 degrees. Hips facing forward. Inhale, draw those arms up. Stable back foot, stable hips. Inhale, lengthen. Exhale, draw the hands to the block here. Come more to that midfoot and level the pelvis. The front hip comes up, back hip forward. Beautiful. For some of you that want a deeper expression, you can draw those hands back and draw the sternum and chest over the shin. Draw those hands forward a bit. Inhale, root and rise. Step forward, cleansing breath. Inhale through the nose. Exhale through the mouth. Removing the block. Coming into torso strength, pillar strength. We're going to work on our side planks here. Vasitasana, side plank. Root into the ground. Inhale, draw those arms up, energy out the fingertips. Exhale, we're going to swan dive down into forward fold. Inhale into halfway lift. Beautiful. Gaze forward and down. Pressing the hands into the ground, we're going to step back into plank Badakanasana here. Dome the upper back just a bit. We're going to draw the right hand inward just a few inches. We're going to press outer edge of the right foot. Beginners can keep the left foot down in a kickstand, left hand on the hip as well. And more advanced, we're going to stack the feet together. Shoulder over the heel of the hand. Lift that arm up and now abduct. Lift that right hip up. Shoulder, core, hip, torso, stability. Torso, strength, core, strength. If you can, you might even gaze up at that left hand. Lower the left hand to the ground. Come into plank. Draw the left hand inward just a few inches. Press outer edge of the left foot. You can draw that right foot in a kickstand for beginners, or we can stack the feet, left shoulder blade in, come into Vasitasana, side plank. And maybe gaze up, but continue to lift that left hip up. Core pillar strength. Lower the right hand to the ground. Come into plank. Several breaths. Gently lower the knees. Wide-legged forward fold, big toes touching. Widen the knees. And let's prepare for our wide-legged child's pose. Hands are shoulder width apart. We press through the palms. Rest the forehead to the ground. Send those hips towards the heels, all creating length in the spine. This is truly breathing into vulnerability. Self-awareness, accountability, personal growth. Gently release. Come to all fours. Lead with those hips. Come into down dog. Inhale, we're going to draw that right leg up high. This time, draw the right heel towards the buttocks here, towards the left buttocks here. Open the hip. Beautiful. Draw that right knee outside of that right wrist. Preparing for pigeon. This is where some of us might take a block or a blanket under that right sitting bone if we have a hard time squaring the hips. Beautiful. Right hip back, left hip forward. I like to press through my back foot to draw the hips square. I might come onto the fingertips and kind of open my chest and open my heart. Come into just kind of a little bit of a back bend here. Just several breaths. But now we're going to really prepare for a forward fold here. So we can either take the block, whatever we want to do, but let's nestle our way down as we square those hips still. Right hip back, left hip forward, and maybe rest on the block here as we're going to stay here for a while into a forward fold expression, releasing that right hip. This is a beautiful posture to do before we dive into deeper forward folds. Make the exhale longer than the inhale as we really breathe into the release. Breathe into vulnerability Breathe into courage. Gently release. Draw the hands back. This is where I come onto the ball of the back foot and I mindfully transition out of this into down dog. Heel and toe, heel and toe. Inhale, we're going to draw that left leg high, draw the left heel towards the right buttocks, and we're going to open that left hip. Draw the left knee outside of the left wrist, preparing for pigeon. Ekapada Raja Kapotasana prep, it's often called. Pigeon. Square the hip, either the block or blanket under that left sitting bone. Press through the top of the back foot. Draw that left hip back, right hip forward, and maybe fingertips come down, and we just take that energy of the spine and let's just open the chest, open the heart, several breath cycles. And now a deep reflection within as we begin to come forward, maybe utilizing the block in a way to get comfortable. Still square those hips, press through the top of the back foot, but come into that expression. So we're still squaring those hips, releasing that left hip. We'll stay here several breaths. Quite a while, actually. Let's really release. And the exhale longer than the inhale. Beautiful. Coming onto the ball of that back foot. Mindfully transition into down dog. Let's widen the heels just a bit. Feel those inner thighs spiraling back. Tailbone back and down. Pubis bone back and up. All creating length in the spine. Gently release, lowering to the knees. Preparing for some forward folds. If some of you need to utilize a strap on some of these, you can. We're going to start with Janu Shirsasana, head of the knee pose, Janu Shirsasana. We're going to keep this left leg extended as I mirror you. You're going to draw that right heel in near the pubis bone and the foot inside the thigh. Beautiful. And the extended left leg is maybe just an inch wider than the hip here. This is where I take my hands, some of you might need the strap. I take my hands on my hips and I want to rotate that pelvic hip bowl forward as I'm going to take my torso and rotate it forward over my shin. So this is the challenge here. Inhale, we're going to draw those arms up. If you need a strap, you might take the strap here, and some of us are going to utilize the strap for this, okay? Just like this. We're going to inhale, draw those arms up. Exhale, draw the sternum and chest and come forward. Beautiful. Outer edge of the foot coming back. Continue and draw that pelvic hip bowl of that bent leg. Draw that side forward here. Sternum and chest over the shin. Exhale longer than the inhale. Breathe into this release. Inhale and rise. It's kind of where the magic starts in these forward folds, that deep release. Keeping the right leg extended about an inch wider than the hip, we're going to draw your left heel in. Press that left foot in the inner thigh. Draw the outer edge of that extended right leg and work on drawing the pelvic hip bowl over that right leg. You're going to take that strap, right? If you can, if you're going to need it. Inhale, draw both arms up. Exhale, come forward. Draw the sternum and chest over the shin. Inhale and rise. Breathing evenly now, because we kind of broke down one side, one side of the body and then the other. We're going to work on our forward fold. If you need to, again, the ability to sit nice and tall is important on this, okay? So sometimes we elevate on a block or we simply sit on a blanket to help even an inch or two rotate that pelvic hip bowl forward just a little bit into like an anterior rotation. I like to take a block because I can reach far enough. So some of us are going to use a strap because we're struggling with hamstring vulnerability, right? And some of us may be able to take a block because we can go a little bit farther. And some of us, I can take, actually, I'll use 2 blocks on this. This is an integration form of our practice. This is where we're really reaping flexibility benefits. We're going to inhale, draw those arms up. Exhale, I want you to reach forward 2 inches, 3 inches, 4 inches, 6 inches farther than you think you can reach forward before we hunker down and release. We're going to stay here a while and just let everything go. Breathe into the hamstrings. Breathe into the lower back, kind of evenly on both sides here, and we'll stay here a while. Inhale, root and rise. Beautiful. Removing the blocks. I'm going to take the blocks actually on either side here. We're going to widen the legs again. I like to do that QL release a little bit. So take those blocks outside of the knees. Outer edges of the feet, rotate them back. Inhale, we're going to interlace those fingers as they kind of form like a basket by the head. Thumbs come down the neck. Inhale, create length. Exhale, draw that left elbow here towards the block. Really, and draw that right elbow and right top ribs back a bit. Just releasing the lower part of our back, our QL. Stay here several breaths. Inhale and rise. Good. Again, we're releasing the sides of the lower back. Inhale, create length. Exhale, draw that right elbow this time towards the block and that left elbow up. Tilt that left elbow back, left top ribs back, bottom ribs forward. Inhale and rise. Rotate those knees back. Preparing for Vasitasana. Again, think about a little forward rotation of the pelvis. Inhale, create length. Exhale, come forward. Some of you might take a block and just kind of use a block if you want to help you come forward. We're going to rotate outer edges of the knees. The knees are going to rotate back, and we're going to simply breathe into the hamstrings, the abductors, the lower back, and continue to rotate those knees back instead of coming forward. Some of you are flexible enough to take the thumb and index finger around the big toes, a yogi grip, and draw the chin forward a little bit and continue to rotate those knees back. So we have many different levels. I want us to breathe evenly into this deep release. Inhale and rise. Drawing the soles of the feet together. In Badakanasana, we're going to draw the sitting bones forward. Take the hands to the soles of the feet. And it's like we're opening a book here. Elbows come on the inside, and we're breathing evenly into the lower back. Good. This is where I like to maybe take a block and rest my head onto the block as I breathe evenly into the adductors. And I close my eyes. Maybe we close our eyes here. Breathe evenly into the lower back and the adductors. Gently rise. Laying on our back. Beautiful. Laying on our back, draw our knees towards our chest, clasp around the shins, creating length in the spine. Draw both knees over to the right, right hand on the left knee here, and gaze over that left shoulder, releasing the upper and middle back. Gently release, come center. Draw both knees to the chest, guide them over to the left. Knees stacked over one another, left hand on top of the right knee. Press that right arm to the ground, right shoulder to the ground. Gaze over the right shoulder. Gently release. Again, come back center, both knees to the chest, and lightly clasp around the shins. Just breathe evenly into the lower back. Reflecting on vulnerability, that ability to take a risk and expose ourselves emotionally towards others. With that comes personal growth, self-awareness, accountability. Preparing for our Shavasana, we're going to truly let everything go. One maybe last stretch of the arms and the legs. As we settle in for that Shavasana, relaxing the feet, relaxing the legs. Knowing that our work today on our mat, in the postures, exploring vulnerability helps us find the light within ourselves and the light in others. You just stay here as long as you want to really explore your Shavasana, your regeneration. Just let everything go.